Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with his good friend, Mr. Dan Burden. In this particular episode, we're going to talk about the one financial subscription. If you only could pick one, which of the one that Mr. Bird would recommend? Dan, let's hear it. Which is the one that people need to check out?
So I subscribe to a number of different ones, stock charts and stock traders almanac. I was subscribing to IBD, Investors Business Daily. I canceled that subscription because at some point you're getting the same information from multiple places, really. But I've had folks, some of your listeners send me notes saying, well, which one, if you had to choose one, which one would it be? And VectorVest is probably the one I would choose if I were only to keep one. Now, I get a lot of value out of stock charts and VectorVest combined. VectorVest gives me more of the fundamental data, the strength of the companies themselves, whereas stock charts gives me more of the technical data. What do the charts look like?
Okay.
But you can do some of that in VectorVest, which I'm going to show here in a second. But VectorVest is the one that I probably would choose if I were just to pick one of them.
Okay. Let's check it out.
Let me show my newsletter real quick. For anybody that's interested, I do this every Saturday for my own benefit, but I share it with my friends and family and folks on this channel. If you're interested, just send me an email to breakpointtrading@gmail.com. And I'll add you to the list. I'll send you this week's newsletter and then add you to the list for future ones. And then if you ever want to be taken off, I'd be happy to just remove you. It's no big deal. Now, one thing that I put in the newsletter each week, and this what you're looking at now is actually from the newsletter itself. So every week I will put this is from VectorVest's main page. And it's sort of a view of the status of the market. Where are things right now? And is it time to buy or not time to buy? And how many buys versus sells are there? That type of thing. Okay. So this is sort of a dashboard that gives you a very quick view of the status of the market. And if you just go by this, in other words, if you're a VectorVest subscriber and just say, if this goes to a sell, or if it's the long-term call, which is this column over here, I'm going to show this on the actual program. Right now it's confirmed down. This is the longest, slowest moving indicator. So if you say, I'm not going to buy stocks, if VectorVest is saying confirmed down, I'm just going to stay out of the market. Then you will be very safe. If you wait for this to go to a confirmed up and say, I'm not going to buy until I see a confirmed up, or even if you're just buying index ETFs, which a lot of times is a good way because you don't have to pick individual stocks.
Right.
Wait till this goes to a confirmed up before you start buying. It's a very safe way, very conservative way. You'll never hit the bottom and you'll never get out of the top by following that. There'll be a lag in that, but it will usually give you a long-term trend indicator. So there are some things with VectorVest for brand new people that makes it pretty easy to stay on the right side of the market. Okay. All right. I'm going to show more of this here in a second, but I put this in every week, and that's why I thought it might be useful for folks to understand how this works. They put a commentary, which I include here. They do this at the end of each week on Friday. Sometimes I won't put it in if it's mostly advertising their services, but if it's interesting stuff, I'll stick it in here. This week they talked about the pro on CNBC talking about 3 stocks they should consider.
I read this, yeah.
Trupanions, Shockwave Medical, and Caesars. So VectorVest said, well, let's take a look and see what VectorVest says. It says Shockwave had a relative value is the value higher? Is the price higher than the value, which means it's overvalued, or is the price right now lower than what the value is, which means it's undervalued? So if this is over 1, that means it's undervalued. So this one was undervalued. The other 2, you can see Caesars is 0.14. It's way overvalued. Wow. So you want these numbers to be above 1 before you buy. So the point of this is that don't just go by what the people on CNBC say. Do some homework.
Do some due diligence. Yeah. Protect yourself.
Figure out what's going on. So what I did is, and they did not do this in this these notes up here. Everything in green comes directly from VectorVest, and what's in blue are my comments.
Oh, nice.
So what I did was I went in and looked at each of these and actually produced the chart from VectorVest for each one of these. So you can see with Shockwave, you want it to be above this bluish gray area, which is the point where it turns into a cell if it goes below that.
Okay.
And you want the earnings, which is this panel here, you want the earnings to be trending higher, preferably in a nice 45-degree angle from the lower left to the upper right.
Okay.
So for Shockwave, that looks really nice.
Not too bad.
The next one, Caesars, does not look too nice. You see the earnings right here are going down. Now they are starting to spike back up again. Yeah. And this is the time of year for gaming, for gambling. Yeah, this is the best time of year for gambling. But this bar across the top will tell you if it's a sell, if it's a hold, or if it's a buy. Okay. So it makes it very easy to really understand individual stocks as well. And then the last one, Trupanion, looks awful. You see the earnings are trending down. Yeah. The chart looks terrible. It's actually below the sell point right here. Oh, wow. And it's got a sell rating. So I wouldn't just go by what CNBC is saying.
Yeah,
double check.
Clearly. Yeah, double check, please.
VectorVest is a good way to do that. I mean, it's a good platform.
So just for a novice, they could have produced those reports in 20 seconds, 2 minutes.
Oh yeah, very easily.
Okay, cool.
I mean, the way I did it is so I'm going to go through some of the features of VectorVest, but if you go up here to viewers, you can view your watch list that you've created. You can do a stock viewer, which are all the stocks that are in VectorVest. And what I did is I just put the symbols in: Shockwave, CZR, TRUP.
So it's very user friendly, clearly.
Very user friendly. So those three. So these are the three right there. Shows you right away the VST, which is a combination of all of its rankings, is above 1, barely above 1, and it's got a hold recommendation. Okay. Caesars is at 0.87, so below 1, and it's got a hold, and this one has a sell. Okay. And then all I have to do is click on Graph All. Got it. And which is what I did for the newsletter. Right. Yeah. So there's the graphs. So there's Shockwave.
People realize how easy it was.
There's Caesars, and there's Trupanion. Now I've set the view of the way that I want to look at this to make it easy for me to quickly see the earnings, to quickly see the RT, which is a momentum indicator, and to see what the graph looks like. And you can change this yourself. You can make it look any way that you want. Put your own moving averages in if you want to, that type of thing. It shows you where the earnings were. Yep. Right. So very quickly you can understand what's going on.
I like it.
So one thing I did with this is there's a Unisearch tool. Well, first of all, there's a graphs tool that allows you to do some standard VectorVest graphs, and they do an audio newsletter, which is only about 15 or 20 minutes every night after the market closes. And I listen to that every night, and it's a real easy way not only to see what the market's doing, but also to learn more about how to use VectorVest. So they have really good training, and a lot of it is free. So anyone that would sign up for this, I definitely encourage them to view the training exercises. So this helps you to understand what the market's looking like. So right now it's above this line. I put a comment out about a week or so ago in the middle of the week saying VectorVest just gave a buy signal. Right? That's this buy signal right here. Actually see the arrow. It's still a buy. Even with all the volatility that we've had in the market, it's still showing as a buy. So this helps, just to understand the general direction that the market is heading. But then what I've done is I've created my own views to be able to search for certain things. So I've got these scans that I can run. I can do a scan here of, I've grouped everything by the top 50 and a few other ones. So really top 75. And if I want to see where
you're basically just building a query.
I'm building a query. That's right. Yeah. This is a query that helps me identify the ones that have momentum that's changing to the upside.
Like it. I see it.
So
I get it.
So the 5 moving average RT today is above the 21, but yesterday it was below the 21.
Yep.
Okay. So that's telling me that just since yesterday, this is starting to move higher.
Okay.
And it's only looking for what's in this particular watch list, which is my top 50 and some other ones, so probably top 75. So these are the ones that it gave me. So I could run this every day, and it's going to give me different ones every day.
Right.
And then I can just graph them. So again, I can just very quickly run through these graphs. Look at that earnings line down there at the bottom.
Yeah.
Looks really nice. Earnings going from lower left to the upper right. And I can just go through each one. Earnings here looks really good. And the momentum is just starting to change. It's got a buy signal at the top. So this allows me to very quickly run through the ones that I just searched on and see if there are ones that I might want to consider. All right.
Now, is this something is this something you do before market opens, after market closes? When are you doing something like this?
I like to do it about in the last hour of the market. So between 3 and 4.
Okay.
Yeah. And earnings beat Tom Bowley, and I put this in my newsletter last week. He did a session yesterday on manipulation, market manipulation. And the first 30 minutes is amateur hour.
Yeah.
Usually when the retail people buy their stocks in the first 30 minutes, and market makers are not buying, they're probably selling to the retail people.
Right.
At the end of the day is when the professionals come in and usually buy. So I like to do these searches in the last hour and decide if there's, depending on what the market is doing. So I start with a wide view, what the market's doing, what's the sector, industry, stock.
All right. Okay.
Do that at the end. And then if I see something that I like, then I might buy it at the end of the day. All right. Nice. So I've got all these searches set up in here to be able to do that. But one of them that I created, because we talked in the last session about sectors and industries. And what I did was I transferred these, actually I pull these out of stock charts and I just transferred them into VectorVest, which is something that you can do very easily. So you can move symbols from one to the other. So if I find a group of things I like in VectorVest, I can move it over to stock charts to look at the charts. If I find some nice charts in stock charts, I can move those over to VectorVest to look at the fundamentals.
Nice.
And we actually did that a couple of weeks ago with a couple of them. But what I did was I divided all of the sectors from the S&P sectors. You can see there's materials, here's industrials. And just like I said in the last session, it looks like industrials, financials, and healthcare look like some good sectors right now. Look like they were headed higher. So now I've got all of those stocks right here. I can say, here's industrials. Show me all the ones that just issued a new buy recommendation.
Got it.
All right. So I double click on that, and here's all the ones in the industrial sector that just got a new buy. Yesterday, this was not a buy. Today, it is a buy. You see that right up here. Stock recommendation equals a buy for today. 1 day ago, recommendation did not equal a buy.
Got it.
Okay. So these are all the ones in the industrial sector that have buys on them. You can see the VST right here is above 1 on all of these.
Yeah.
Which means they are undervalued. Which means they've got all of these different indicators in their favor. And then I can graph them. So this one here, boom, $21 stock. Look at that earnings line. Nice uptrend on earnings. So that's a good candidate. And notice up here, each one of these have just received a new buy because that's what I searched on. Right?
Yep.
So Copa Holdings is an airline. Earnings, pay attention to what the earnings look like. In fact, if the earnings, I'll see if there's one in here that's going down. American Airlines actually looks pretty decent. This is aerospace and defense. Now, see, this one here had earnings dropping down and starting to come back up. This is one that I probably would pass on because I only want to look at ones that have very strong earnings. Here's Brinks. Their earnings look like they're pretty good. All right, so those are all the industrial ones. I can do the same thing with financials. All the ones in financials that just got a new buy. Here's Wells Fargo.
Interesting.
What else? Northwestern Bank. And then it ranks them based on the VST. Actually, VST RT is the momentum and growth. So I'm actually ranking these based on the overall ranking and the momentum. So they also have momentum going for them, and they have good growth numbers.
Nice.
So it ranks them based on that. Then again, I can graph these and see what they look like. See, the earnings of that one looks great. Earnings look pretty good there. Let's go to Wells Fargo. Here's Wells Fargo. Earnings on Wells Fargo looks good. All right, so that's kind of the power of VectorVest. Some of the things that you can do with it. You can create your own scans any way that you want. When I put the VectorVest views in here, it comes directly from the home page right here. So every day it will rank every stock. It's tracking 9,176 stocks. So you think about the S&P 500 is only 500 stocks. The Dow is only 30 stocks. VectorVest is tracking 9,000 stocks. So it's a very broad view of the overall market. And then it will rank these based on price, momentum, which is relative timing, and then the buy-sell ratio right here. And it combines all three of these together to provide an MTI or market timing indicator. And you want these to all be above 1. Right now it's below 1.81. It gives you the short-term trend and the long-term trend, and then whether it's confirmed up or confirmed down right there.
Okay.
All right. So this is what I put in the newsletter. These two panels. This left-hand side for the stocks and the sectors, and this middle section here, which gives you a sense for what the direction of the market is and how the market is moving.
Very cool.
So it's a very quick way to understand from day to day what the market looks like. You can see here the colors right here. You can see whether it's trending towards green or away from green. Right now we started to go green, but now we're trending away from it. Right. Okay. So we went to red, and then we went back to yellow. So we'll see what happens next week. And then you can graph all of these again and show different layouts. If I do this MTI layout, this shows you the MTI, the buy-sell ratio, and the RT. And I can look at it on a 5-year period just to give you a sense. And I can change this to a confirmed calls. So these are the longest running ones. You can see we have a confirmed down signal that started on August 22nd and is still confirmed down. So if you only went by this, you would have been out of the market here on November 22nd. You would have missed a little bit of the uptrend in December, but you would have been out right here. You would have been right back in here, but for a very short period, just for this one little rally. And then you would have been back in here for this rally, but then back out again. And right now it's still a confirmed down. So it has not given an up signal yet.
Okay.
So, I mean, this is a great way to stay on the right side of the market, to know whether the general market is trending higher, trending lower, before you start buying stocks. So for anybody that, is wondering, from the ones that I've looked at, and I've looked at a lot of other ones over the years and have kind of settled on stock charts and VectorVest. But if I were to pick any of them, I'd probably pick VectorVest as the one to start with, because it's just much easier to understand. And there's a lot to it. There's a lot of things you can do with it. Set your own screens. And I don't know if there's any stocks that you want to look at using.
Well, let's just look at one. Let's look at JP Morgan's one. The audience knows I picked up at 104. It's had a nice little run. I don't know if I should just buy some more, sit it there, sell it. Don't know.
All right. So here's JP Morgan. By the way, you can right click on this and look at these in a lot of different ways. You can look at the news. You can look at the full stock analysis, which shows you everything. So it shows you the stock graph and the industry side by side. It says it's got a buy recommendation on it. The value is 102, but the price is 130. So this is overvalued. Relative value is fair because of this up here. Relative safety is fair. It's got a 1, it's above 1, but this gives you a sense for over the long term, does it stay trending higher or lower? And then the timing, the momentum right now is excellent. So 1.47 is very good. Actually, an excellent rating. Overall rating is just a good rating. So this will show you, give you a sense for what it looks like. And then you can go to the chart, look at the chart itself. And you can see JP Morgan has kind of choppy earnings up until recently, up until October. And then the earnings have just started to really take off in October. The momentum is really good. This blue-gray area is the sell. This is really the stop point, but it's well above the stop. It's well above its moving average lines. It probably needs a rest. So what I would do with JP Morgan is I would put another buy right in around just somewhere above the 21-day moving average.
Okay.
Which is, let's see if I can figure it out, 121. So maybe if you put a buy in around 122.
Okay.
And let it come back to that.
Right. Yeah, this is one of those anchor accounts for me.
Right.
I like
but yeah, as I've talked about in other sessions, the reversion to the mean, usually the 21-day, at some point it's going to get too far away from this and it will revert to the mean. It will come back to it.
Of course.
So that's where you want to put your buy in there.
Yep. I like it. I probably
You can also see that it's above its 200-day moving average, which is really good. So the 200-day is at 125 roughly.
Ish, yeah.
So you could put a buy order somewhere between 122 and 125.
Sure.
And just let it come back to that.
Okay. I like it. Well, do me a favor, flash your newsletter one more time.
Sure. breakpointtrading@gmail.com. If anybody's interested, hopefully folks that are watching this get a better understanding of because I always put the VectorVest weekly view in there to show what the general trend of the market looks like. So hopefully you know a little bit more about what VectorVest could do.
Yeah, Dan, that was very helpful. And again, folks, Dan has his own playlist. That's Dan Bird. You can go back and watch us talk about stocks for months now, and you can actually see how things kind of transpired. Might be fun to do. Thanks, buddy.
And next week, big CPI report next Thursday, 9:30. 9:30?
Yeah.
I thought it came out at 8:30.
Yeah, I thought it was 8:30 too. It's 8:30.
Well, this probably hasn't changed from the time change.
Oh, the time zone. Yeah,
that's interesting.
Cool.
It actually is 8:30 when it comes out, but it's still showing 9:30. It's interesting.
Very cool. Well,
anyway, the forecast is for 8%, so we'll see if it comes in. If it comes in above 8.2, we're in big trouble. If it comes in between 8 and if it comes in at 8.1, the market might not like that either. If it comes in at 8, I think it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But that next CPI number might be the key for the rest of the year.
I would agree with that. Next Thursday. Yep.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thank you very much. We'll talk next week.
All right. Have a good weekend.
You too, man. Bye.